I heard that Germantown Commissary won Best Barbecue. Is that right?
Is that how close is that? Is that super?
Oh, it's
you can walk.
Mere minutes away.
Okay.
Yeah.
One could walk if one were so inclined. And so we've almost reached the end of the road. And then it will be happy trails for you. I heard there were some stream issues. What can you do about that? But the recordings will be perfect. We'll get those up and do better. The internet, we still haven't mastered it yet, you know? So we've had some great times. I've had some great times. It's been a long day, but I've learned a ton. And let's end this sort of segment, and then we'll go in as a big group, but with a really important topic, one that's been discussed ad nauseum, and that is treatment coordinating. And I think it's been discussed so much because it's so important. It's integral to the heartbeat of the practice, I think. And so what we're going to do in about 25 minutes is talk some pro tips on how we do treatment coordinating. My wife is with me. She has been a treatment coordinator for 10 years off and on or something. And so she's very good at it. So I really just have her here to make me look good. And then I have Courtney and Cole here just to look good. You're just eye candy. The two
Ken and Barbie.
Yeah.
That's your service.
If you would just not Ken and Barbie, you do. Oh, that's too perfect. Okay. And you're okay. I'll just leave that alone. That's awesome. I love that. Had you practiced that? Okay.
Yeah.
And so hopefully on Monday you'll have some new, tips to try in the exam room. All right. So let's start by discussing what your treatment coordinator exam room process is like before they meet with the doctor. All right, Anna, start.
Okay, so they're welcomed in at the front desk, obviously. They've got their paperwork that they've got to get all squared away. If there's a child with the parent, then the treatment coordinator will come right out and introduce herself and ask if she can go ahead and take the child back to start the records process. I know every office is a little different. At our office, our treatment coordinators really like doing their own records. As a treatment coordinator myself, I like it because I think you get in a tight room, like in the x-ray room with your patient, and you can talk to them, you kind of build some rapport, you kind of get all the nerves out, you ask them some questions, ask them if they're excited about braces, whatever. Then you go and you take the photos. Right now we have a treatment coordinator, she's 8 months pregnant, and she's like leaning over them, trying to get the pictures. I think some of all of that is fun, and it kind of builds the relationship. Then they tour them through the office. Our office is kind of separated. The clinic, where it gets kind of crazy, is away from the consult rooms. I think it's important for them to see that that's what the clinic looks like, so that when they come in to get the braces on, they're not like, whoa, I thought it was just me in here.
Yeah, we keep the hardened criminals in a different way.
Yeah. So we do that, and then we sit down, we start the process.
Yeah. Anything different from what you just laid out?
We make sure at the end to give them a little tour of the clinic.
Okay.
And depending on who brings them back, that tells me whether they're going to start or not. So if the TC has the financial coordinator take them on the tour, that means that they've scheduled to start.
Okay.
If the TC herself walks them back, then I know they haven't made an appointment yet.
Okay, so does that trigger you to act?
Yes, because if the financial coordinator brings them back and I'm like, oh, when are you coming in? I'm super excited. Pick your colors out. I don't want you taking forever to pick out your stupid colors, or something like that. But if the TC comes back like, hey, let us know if you have any other questions after other consults. All the other orthodontists in town are awesome. Or if you have to talk to family, call us. Okay, let us know. It's good to hear that from the doctor. So if they hadn't decided, that one last little thing that I can see them and just hey, and it gives everyone the chance to turn around. It's a rule in my office that they have to pull down their mask, turn around, smile, and say hi. Welcome, just welcome to the office.
Nice.
So.
Someone watching is not going to report you for these.
They're not allowed to breathe. They have to hold their breath.
No. They keep it.
We practice.
No, I love it. It's great. Anything different from how you guys do?
I would say one thing in New York, we do complimentary consultations, and we also upload their photos through a now HIPAA compliant Google Photos folder. So we share those photos with patients as well as their panoramic X-ray, and then at the end, on their way out, we give them a little gift. It's a teeth whitening pen, which is great.
Yeah. I need to talk to you about the logistics of giving them. That's actually pretty slick.
Yeah. I like the gift idea. Leanne Panici talks a lot about that, and it's this reciprocation concept. Is that if you give someone something, they feel the desire to reciprocate that gift, maybe in starting treatment. Some doctors really hate, it turns out, the idea of giving gifts away. They think it cheapens it. I don't know. I think gifts are fine. We do a gift.
One workaround you can do if you're uncomfortable with that, which is a great idea, is you find out who referred them and just say, hey, here's a gift card. You could use it if you want, but if you don't want to use it, do you mind giving it to? It was the Ramsey family that actually told you to come here. Do you mind if you probably see them more than I will?
Yeah,
will you give them to them just to thank them for sending you here? because people like giving gifts more than like getting
Yeah.
them. So if you're like, oh, I saw that you're friends with this person. I love that they recommended you. Would you do me a favor? This king size candy bar. I know Dan. We give him this candy
Yeah.
bar. Just tell him it's for me, like whatever it is. But sometimes they'll accept it. It'll seem less greasy if like, hey, we give this to your person who referred you.
It's great. I love it.
Something like that.
You're so good at those.
But the gift,
it's a secondhand compliment.
yeah. But the psychology is the same. Just like you know, hey, we've broken bread together. We've given you something.
Like
so
we gave you candy,
yeah.
give us a few $1,000.
Yeah, sure.
This is an even exchange.
I'll trade you a king size for $5,000.
Don't get held up on the details of this transaction. Okay, so Anna, as a treatment coordinator, it's great stuff. How do you prepare the patient before meeting the doctor? Oh, the oh so important doctor. I'm just kidding. What sort of things do you try to make them aware of first? Do you try to pre-sell them in some way, or?
Well, in a lot of the like treatment coordinator groups, they talk about a lot that you should assume the sale already. So, you know, you want to have the conversation with the patient as if they're going to be starting treatment with you.
Yeah.
So you're trying to kind of introduce them to the doctor before the doctor comes in by telling them, you know, oh, our patients love Dr. Kyle because he always does this, or he's like, you know, remembers their name, or whatever the thing is. Kind of like let them know, like, you're gonna love being a patient of Dr. Kyle's because
Sneaker
like,
game on
yeah,
point.
Yeah, exactly. He's got cool
She
shoes
actually
too.
doesn't like my sneakers. More on that later.
Anyway, and so I think things like that, you're kind of trying to already sell, because Kyle may come in and have like 2 minutes. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of time. The doctor usually doesn't. And so you want to kind of give them a little more about the doctor.
Yeah. I know, Cole, you said something about this. Candace, I keep calling you Candace. Courtney, we'll come back to you. So many C's, you know? Cole, you get at something about this, about even when you leave the room, which I guess will come later, but probably before the room too.
Yeah, before I come in, I want them to this is for doctors that I've talked to that feel self-conscious that they're not the super energetic doctor, or maybe they're busy. It's the time for the treatment coordinator to prime them, like, okay, he's going to come in and he's going to be very serious, like, because he loves teeth. He's going to do such a good job. I can't wait for you to get to know him better. Like the treatment coordinator has to know the weaknesses of their doctor and prime them. Like, Cole will come in like he's known your kid all along, so don't be weirded out that he's a big personality. But like, so if they get that personality where they know that Cole might be a little much for them, they make sure they prime them. It's very important, so they don't come in guns a-blazing and the kid's like, so. And if you, on the other hand, a good friend of mine who this works well for him, he's such a sweet guy. He'd be your favorite guy if you had, you know, a week to get to know him. But in 2 minutes, it's hard for him to show his personality because he's got a small, demure but sweet, just the sweetest guy ever. So the Courtney, I can't wait till you see his personality come out. He's so funny. Like you take any inadequacies that could be perceived, not even if they're real, and the treatment coordinator can prime them to wave those off and then pump up all your good stuff. So, and they should do it before and after. Once they leave, it's like, I know he spoke really fast and he's actually in a hurry, so I'm so glad he took time to come in and meet you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the treatment coordinator needs to just clean all that up. If you miss something, he or she takes care of it. If you weren't good at something, it's just like I know he just joked around a lot, but this is normally what my treatment coordinator said. I know he just joked around all the time. He didn't talk much about teeth, but like he loves getting results, and he's so proud of like the actual teeth part. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. It's like your wingman or something. So, and now this is what you think they say when you leave the room, Cole. But I hate to tell you, we got some hidden cameras. We took them into your office, and here's what actually.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I'm so embarrassed.
That would be horrible. If you
Let's jump into this. Courtney, as the doctor, do you have like a certain set routine that you try to get through with each exam, or do you approach them uniquely? How do you?
So I think building systems is key to keep me on schedule. So my assistant takes all the records, photographs, panoramic, iTero scan, and I come in and I have those photos on my iPad. And I
do a scan with every patient?
Every patient,
Love it. Okay.
Yeah, and so we, I got to start using that simulator thing though more often. But I put their pictures up on a big screen that's connected to my my iPad, and as I mark up like problem areas or things that we can improve, you know, it's up there on like a 50-inch screen right in their face, and so they're like, whoa, you know. And so I think the use of images is so important. Their own images, not just like, you know, a cartoon video here and there is helpful, but like their own face, their own images, they'll really see it.
So on that, you worked kind of walk me through? I don't exactly know what the terminology is, but you were with David Sarver for some time.
Yeah, I flew down went a week at a time every other month for about a year and a half, which was great, and I learned so much. Like I saw things through an entirely different lens after working with him.
Yeah, I know I baited and switched you by saying David would be here. I wish David was here.
No.
I know that's really the only reason.
So does David. Dave wishes he was here too.
Oh, I love David. But he'll come back.
That's amazing that you had that experience. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing. You know, all my instructors were like, "Why are you flying down there?" You know, I'm like, "Look."
Is that a real question?
Yeah.
Like, are you?
You know, yeah.
Do you know?
Biggest living name in economics? Yeah.
I mean, he was like, "Hey, you know, I have an idea. Maybe you can come help me with my book." Book finally got published this year. It's great. If you haven't read it yet, it's great. It came out.
I have read it.
Yeah, it's great.
I read some of it with my son Charlie.
My teeth are on page 70.
Oh, is that right?
I don't know what page number, but they're in there.
Oh, okay. I'll have to go read a little closer. So, but one of the things that he mentioned to you was visualization and the key of that and showing photos. You said some of that, but give me a little bit more on that, if you don't mind.
So,
why does it work? I mean, what do you think is the effect it has?
Because it's hard, you know, when people use their hands to generalize, you know, they can't really grasp the concept, you know? And so by having an actual photo to kind of show like, you know, and I have comparison cases that I have like separate folders that I'll pull up. Be like, this was a gummy smile, this is what we were able to do. Or even when you talk about the concepts of certain procedures, if you do a gingivectomy, they're like, what does that mean? I'm like, hot knife through butter. And they're like, what does that mean? And so then, you know, you show a little video or before and after. But to have something that patients can kind of grasp, and then there used to be a great software out there, and I don't know of any updated one, but you'd be able to morph the teeth and move the teeth down to improve a smile arc on their own smile, and modify their gingiva, and that was great.
I'm going to ask, I know other people are going to ask, what program do you use to sync up the visual?
So I just have thank you. I have an Apple TV.
Okay.
You know, so it's just screen mirroring from the iPad Pro with the pen, and then whatever I do, it shows up on the screen.
I love it. Okay.
Yeah. Like basically all modern TVs now, smart TVs will have like AirPlay inside of them.
Yeah.
I know because I had to buy a bunch of TVs in this house, and I'm still like the troglodyte trying to plug the HDMI cable into my laptop that now no longer has an HDMI port.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like last night, and then Alex got it working in 10 seconds. I was like, what did you do? He's like, AirPlay. I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Now I'm the old man in the room.
Yeah.
So no, that's great. Your set pattern. What do you do when you go into the room? How do you approach it? What's your routine?
My first thing I want to do is always just make connections. So I'm like, when I'm walking in, they're like, okay, who referred them? Who's their dentist? And so I want to figure out some way that I know them, or like, what grade is your kid in? Do they know one of my kids? And so it's connecting. It's like, when I walk in, it's like, you look super familiar. I'm almost saying this on everyone because especially with masks, like, okay, your name sounds so familiar and the top half of your face looks familiar. Have we met before? And almost they'll say like, actually we have. I'm like, oh good, because the treatment coordinator couldn't even get that out of them. But in a town like in New York, where the population density is so great, like it's not going to be a thing as it would be in a smaller town. But like Salem's just a mid-sized town. But I'm like, hey, do I know you? But sometimes like, no, but like you coach my daughter, like, because it's things that sometimes parents don't feel comfortable like just say. They don't want to just volunteer it. And there's ones like, you took me to prom, remember? Oh, weird. You look like that now. Wow. Wow. But it's just, so I'm just trying to figure that out, okay? And then I'll go, okay, before we get started, if you had a magic wand and you could change anything about your teeth, what would you change? Okay, and so that's my way of getting their chief complaint. I want to know, because I want to know what they think is wrong.
That's better than what do you not like about your
teeth?
Yes. It's just like, hey,
magic wand.
Kid, I'm like, hey, you get a magic wand, wave it. What do you wish was different? Actually, I don't care. Okay, kid doesn't care. Mom, you got the magic wand. What would you change about his teeth? Well, I don't care either. The dentist wanted this. Okay, now I know where to focus. So I do connect.
Get the hell out of my office.
Yeah, exactly. I do connect, magic wand, and then I'm like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about if we need braces, what we're going to do, how long it's going to take, and how much it's going to cost. We're going to cross those things off. You don't have to make a decision today, but those are the 4 big questions you want answered today, right? Yeah. and then we leave, and no matter how ridiculous I acted, the treatment coordinator just sweeps everything up, and then
he's honestly not that bad.
Yeah.
You won't.
So connections, magic wand, the 4 things.
I love it.
And then done.
So good.
It's great.
Yeah.
So really important stuff from there. And when I've heard people talk about treatment coordinating, I do think it's important to lay out what you're going to do. So I do try to really very similarly. I'm going to maybe try the magic wand thing. It works great for you.
Like
But I do like to just develop rapport to whatever degree is possible. If they play the drums, look out, because I'm spending 10 minutes talking about it. Melissa, my primary treatment coordinator, not primary, but she's been with me longer. She almost hides from me that they play drums. And she'll kind of squirt it in there towards the end when she knows I'm busy. Like, oh yeah, she plays drums.
On my TC, she's like, he's wearing a Led Zeppelin shirt. I overheard this, like, he's wearing a Led Zeppelin shirt. Dr. Johnson's going to be in there forever.
Yeah.
Okay, well, sorry.
Oh, I know. I indulge in those conversations, and I know, and I'll even tell the mom, I know you don't like this, but we're going to talk drums, or whatever. But I think it's important to, if nothing else, if you're looking for like, how do I make this a system? Develop rapport, however you want to do that. I do think it's important to let them guide some direction of that consult. And so a great way is asking them, what do you not like about your smile? Because then that gives you an opportunity to talk about the 2 or 3 things they do. And it also gives you an opportunity to compliment them like, you've got it all figured out, that kind of a thing, which they like. But I also think it's really important to say, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and then at the end, our expert here on the finances and insurance, they're going to cover this.
You validate the TC, make sure.
You set her up as the expert on all this stuff, and I'll even set it before I leave. And then when you leave the room, is that another question? We'll kind of get around to it, but I'm just going to say it. When you leave the room, you do, again, you say, this is our expert, and I got this, I think Brian Webb told me this, and she'll help you get started today. We say that now. I say that now. Because it just kind of, again, maybe that feels greasy to you.
Just primes them. Yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah, it's not like and maybe we'll see you somewhere down the road. It's like, she's going to help you get started today. Okay? It's great to meet you, whatever. And sometimes, I'll say this, sometimes the best optimal, consult with a certain patient type is 1 minute and 7 seconds.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it is 19 minutes and 45 seconds. I think this idea that every consult is going to be 45 seconds, you're in, you're out, that just doesn't work.
That means you're deciding on a schedule before you meet the patient. And there has to be some play. Listen, you've got to spend some time, but you can't spend an infinite amount of time. But I just don't like when doctors want to keep it so robotic that there's no way you can do a good job if it's that formulaic. So obviously, take it where the patient wants it to go. Figure out how much they care and what they care about. What do they care about? And how much do they care?
Yeah, it's a formula, but more it's a template, right?
And it's more for you to stay on track and less. I mean, for them, you give them whatever they need, but we all need systems. We're orthodontologists. We know what we need. We need systems.
Well, it works better when you have them, I think. So, presenting finances, how do you present finances, Anna? Do you want to start that?
Okay, well, I wanted to add to that really quickly because I think you guys have talked a lot about the doctor part, but if you're the treatment coordinator, if your job is to clean up the mess or tidy everything up at the end of it, I think you have to be a student of your patient. And so like we've all said, every mom and child or whoever's in your room is different and they have different personalities. So if it rubbed them the wrong way that Kyle talked about their bad hygiene, or you need to be watching and reading that off the patient so that you can smooth it over at the end and learn to enjoy that process and understand that it's going to be different with every person who comes in the room. And that's some of the fun of it, I think, as a treatment coordinator, is to kind of read them the whole time, whether it's 19 minutes or a minute, and then make sure you're making a mental list to be okay, I need to address that, I need to address that, all those things.
That's so good, Anna, because you'll find things like a good treatment coordinator like mine, and you seem like you're doing the same thing. Watching the parent while you're talking to the kid, because you can't see 2 things at the same time. You're watching, okay, what point did she lean in, or what point was she on her phone, what did she not care about, that type of thing. Cool.
Yeah.
You said this in the earlier segment, if they care a 1, you care a 1, but try to bring them to a 5. If they care a 10, you care.
That's good.
But you always meet them where they are okay, I'm really freaked out about that tooth. Oh my gosh, me too. We're gonna watch it. We need to watch it.
Yeah.
It probably won't be a big deal, 7, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
5.
He just got a huge overbite. I'm okay, it's probably not a big deal.
Overbites haven't killed anybody.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So then you just kind of move it up to 5. Okay.
I like it. I love it. All right, I want some more of it. How do you present finances?
So we've used multiple different systems in the past.
True. We've used them all.
And switching through them is always a little bit of, it's an exercise in patience to get out of one system into another. But currently we use AcceptX Pro with OrthoBank, and I like it. It's clean, it's easy, you punch it in, it lets them see it, you can email it home to them, it develops the forms, you can add in new forms if you want to for signing. So if you want to have a retainer plan or something, but you need a document about that in there, you can add it in. That helps the person who's doing the contract, all that kind of stuff. It's worked for us. I know there's lots of options.
Yeah. Well, one of those options is what you use.
Yeah. So I recently onboarded with OrthoFi, and The onboarding process was a little bit of a headache, but now that we're in it and committed, I love it. It helps actually patients fill out their paperwork ahead of the consultation, and even if they didn't, when they come in and they enter their insurance info, I mean, the information is mostly like already investigated by the time we're done with the consult, so the patients know how that can apply to the fees. And so even though, we shut down for the pandemic, my fees went up when we came back. And even though the prices went up, I still think OrthoFi is great because it allows more affordability and access to care for patients.
Yeah,
Because they can go as low as they want for their down payment and, or payment in full and get some discounts.
Yeah, affordability is more important than the overall number.
Yeah.
So, all right, they're the same company now. I guess you know that. So there is that. So we might be using the same product in some time. I have no idea. Cole, what about you?
Nothing to add. I use OrthoFi and I've loved it. It's clearly not for every practice. Doesn't make sense clearly for every practice. So talk to some colleagues and talk to OrthoFi. They will be honest and help you through. But for what we do, it's perfect for the reasons that you said. Yeah.
And like people will say, and this was my complaint in the beginning, it's too expensive. And you can negotiate with them. There's some wiggle room, but
wait, what?
Yeah. So there is some wiggle room because the fees the cuts that they were getting, I'm thinking,
Jamie Reynolds,
50%. Yeah, I was like, that's
maybe like, for
that's
you.
50% of my treatment fee. I'm just kidding. It's not that bad, but like, you find a way to make
Courtney's
it work
like,
with you.
I love that it's free.
Free efficiency.
But be open to it. It's great.
Yeah,
so,
right on.
Yep.
We got 2 questions in 3 minutes. How will this work? So here's a question. When you meet a difficult parent or patient, it doesn't take long. I sometimes know by looking at the photos, that's something that we do.
RBF, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yes, RBF for sure. We actually print off, so we go like super analog. I love digital stuff. Like we don't do a screen, but what we do is we print off the photos, so like compositate, pan, Ceph, and then I'll sketch. And for whatever reason, I like that tangibility. I like that. It's like it's felt board in Sunday school, like I like that I can kind of show them, and then they take that home with my notes on it. And I wish my handwriting was better, but that is great also because it can set on the island. I can come over and I can treatment plan it. I have like a 1 sheet that I do and I circle. It's in my hand, so that scans in, so I can know of a case like almost instantly like what needs to happen. Of course, it could all be digitized. There's arguments for all that, but that's how we do it. And so I can go into the room. That's one big thing I wanted to get to is I don't spend time like dictating to the treatment coordinator, oh yeah, we got a class 3 on 2/6 and a blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Like I think that like radio chatter is like off-putting.
Yeah.
Like I don't like that kind of stuff. I like coming in, I already know my plan, my treatment coordinator's already got it in the system, and I'm focused mostly on rapport and getting through, let's be honest, talking about their 2 issues, which you already know easily, and you don't go into great detail on how you're going to treat it. But anyway, that's the way that we do. But if I have a difficult patient, it's either a super complex case, one that I don't feel like I'm the right person to treat, or I just know they're difficult. Like TC says, just so you know, X, Y, and Z. We circle on our sheet class 4. That's what we call it. Class 4 means stay away, red alert.
Refer them out.
Yeah. Well, what do you do when you have someone like that?
So sometimes I price them out. Like my fees are so ridiculously high, it's unattainable for anybody, but also, I once had a patient who came in for a consult. I was his 3rd consult. He decided ultimately he wanted to come with me.
Great.
But this is how it'll go down. He's going to see me every month. We're going to take progress records. And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't think I can work up to your level of expectations.
Yeah.
But you should go with Dr. Blank. They're really great. They'll take care of you.
Dr. Bleep?
Yeah.
Sorry, sir, you seem terrible.
Yeah.
This is not going to work. Cole, what do you say? I'm sure you have some nice way of doing this.
No, I sincerely ask them, I will treat you, this is how I would do it, but I won't do it until you go talk to at least 2 more orthodontists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do that one.
I need you. And luckily I live in a place where the other orthodontists in my city are awesome. If my kids didn't want to come to me, I'd fine. Doctor, there's a ton of them. Yeah. Both the women and the men in my city are awesome. And it's helped me because I do come across like I'm very hesitant about treating them, and that's sincere. I am hesitant. I'm I am just a little worried I'm not going to be able to do a good job. And then when they come back, they are mine. Look, if you come back, this is the way we're doing it. This, and so.
That's a good point.
But because if you let them date around and then they come back, then you're like, okay, well, then I get to wear the pants. So.
Yeah. Exactly. I like that. I have sometimes, like when it's one which just doesn't seem like there's a way out of it, I will say, this is not about you, but I do fear that I won't be able to make you happy, which can go the wrong way. You kind of have to massage that conversation. But I've said that before. And if I feel like someone actually is better at, like there's a guy in town that has like developed his own TAD and does all that kind of crazy stuff that I don't do, I say you owe it to yourself to go see this guy. At least see him and see, because he's really the one. If I had the same issue, I'd be going to him. Let's just be honest. And so I think that's okay. What you don't do is treat every consult like it's make or break and life or death. Yeah. Like you can't act like you have to start. And I think it's also great that with some consults, if I don't think they need braces, it's kind of crappy to think that you would push treatment on them that costs $5,000 or $6,000 when they don't need it. So one of my favorite consults are like, I don't think he needs braces. Yeah. Like what a relief, like what a service that is to that patient. And the mom's like, really? Yeah. It's like, yeah, he doesn't need them. And sometimes you'll go down that road and they're like, I think we still want to do it anyway. It's like, okay.
Then the pressure's off, like to give them a big ta-da.
One treatment option I always present is the option of no treatment, right? And if you don't do that, you'll be perfectly fine. If you leave things as they are, it's going to progressively get worse, but at a slower rate. So
I use that on my class 4 sometimes. I don't think you need treatment.
I don't see anything.
Yeah, it's like this. Are you sure, doc? I don't know.
Yeah, you found someone that loves you, I think. Who'd you bring in? Oh, okay, the parole officer. Yeah, maybe you do. Maybe you still need treatment.
Explains the ankle bracelet. Now I get it. We were going to talk about virtual exams. We're kind of out of time. Well, let's just do it anyway, just real quick. Virtual exams, big, sexy topic during COVID. We used it to some success. We've actually transitioned that into TC-only exams because we needed more space. Those are great. I start to feel like I'm the problem in our conversion rate because we have adult patients and they just see the TC, they send those photos, still print them out, I still write it, they scan it in, it's treatment planned, I check them before we start. That's been very powerful. So if you have less space than you like, we have like 1,800 square feet in one location, which in Manhattan is like a palace.
Even less than half of that.
Yeah. In Memphis, that's very small. And so anyway, so we have her at a different location, seeing patients. So that's been cool. Virtual exams, let's be honest, we just don't do a ton of them. They come in fewer and fewer, but are you still using those kind of where you are?
Yeah, I do like a virtual consult about twice a month. Every other Tuesday, I do reserve 15-minute slots to do virtual check-ins with patients. So like a progress check for Invisalign or even like a retainer check. So we're trying to give patients their retainers and then see them 4 months out virtually.
Yeah, cool.
I tried it and it didn't go. Not only did I not like it, I don't think the patient liked it either. So I quit doing it.
Yeah. Well, it was probably because you weren't wearing any clothes.
Because I had the camera.
You stood up and you left the camera on. Yeah. We remember that from last year. Believe me, I got many a letter.
I don't know why my conversion's down.
Yeah.
Tasha's like, put on some pants.
Yeah, maybe pants are a good place to start. She'd be sweet about it, though. She would be. This was great. This was really fun. It was just as fun as I thought it would be, and then some. So we're nearing the end, folks. Can you feel it? We only have an hour left. Oh, really? Yeah, we have an hour left. And then we get to go downtown and partay. It'll be fun. And you get to fly back. Okay. And so we're going to bring out some extra chairs so we can fit like everyone onto the set. And we're going to discuss how to build the best orthodontic practice. So we're not done just yet. So we're going to bring it all together, get all our master minds together, and we're going to talk about this. But first, we have some video of an event that just happened. And I think you're going to want to see it. Well, hello! Hey! Here we are. Look at this. We've got a
packed house.
Yeah, this is a packed house. This is a spreader event here. This is great. Everyone's vaccinated. So it's been quite a meeting, hasn't it? It's been fun.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Great job.
So we're going to be doing this, like, building the best orthodontic practice panel, okay? And so the point of this is that we're just going to talk about everything that we've learned this weekend. Nicole's going to pull out her notes, and you're going to pull out your remarkable, I think, and we're just going to talk through it. And just if something moves you to speak, you'll speak. And so I'm going to keep these questions pretty open, but let's do some systems, okay? So share some examples of systems that you could not practice without. We'll just go rapid fire. What do you got?
Ortho-Fi.
Ortho-Fi. We just talked about Ortho-Fi. Were you listening?
No,
Always.
Yeah.
Always listening.
Why is Cole?
Yeah, where is Cole?
Come on, Cole.
Oh, yeah.
Just cooking.
Just fix a sandwich. No big deal. Okay, so
Bring me some of that bread, bro.
We talked. I need some bread. I never had any bread.
It's delicious.
Yeah, that's what I heard. So Ortho-Fi. Who uses Ortho-Fi? It's like half the room. We used to use Ortho-Fi. What do you use?
My team. No, but we use OrthoBank and Acceptance Pro is kind of what we're using to tag team treatment coordination and the payments on the drafts.
That's what we use as well. So we've used everything.
With that said, I still run a lean and mean machine. I recently went to Ortho-Fi. Before that, I used Square, that allows you to collect a down payment and recurring payments. So you just got to create the paperwork.
Yeah. Right on. Other systems, non-financially related and not owned by Jeff Kozlowski.
Define the archwire sequences and which steps come next before moving on to the next step. So, for instance, for me, I know we didn't get to talk about it in our last segment, but all of our team knows we don't move to the next wire after 016 until all the rotations are out.
Right.
Simple as that, unless it's a extenuating circumstance.
Right. Okay, let's talk wire sequence then. I don't know how many shared, if any, shared wire sequences we have. Who has the best wire sequence in the room?
I would say Jeff Kozlowski.
Let's not give so much credit to Jeff.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Jeff has the worst one. I heard it.
Yeah.
It's so lame. It's the worst.
It's just okay. What is your wire sequence, Jeff?
Right now it's when we can 016 copper knife tie upper and lower to an 1825 smart arch over a 1625 copper.
Oh, bro.
And then
boring.
I'm with you. Boring means less work, so I appreciate that. I think that's a compliment.
Well, you got to go.
And then when we can to a 19/16 steel. So 3 wires is the goal.
Okay. You threw some weird numbers in there. I don't know.
I got it, but
The
again,
525
it depends on what kind of car you're driving, right? So it doesn't like that. That's honestly, I'm gonna get on a soapbox. One of the problems in our profession is this like Christmas Eve with your mother-in-law religion politics discussion that turns into what brackets you use or what company you support, and that's bull. That's bull. Like, all of us are here having a great weekend, and none of that should matter. Sue and I use the same brackets. I don't care what anybody else uses. So whether he uses a 2020 as a second wire, or I use an 1825, or in our new brackets an 18275, it doesn't matter. It's how do we use what we have to do the best we can for our patients and our teams. And we should really, as a profession, just eliminate this notion that any of us should be any different based on who we work with or what size slot we have on our brackets.
But the key is reducing the efficiency and reducing the
Yeah,
work
well, I mean,
and
I
reducing
like
the
to
number
have my wife
of
and family, so,
wires. Yeah.
So it's not about the size of the slot. I get
No.
it. So how many wires do you typically use? Like we'll go down a line. Do you know?
Usually 3 to 4.
3 to 4,
5.
5.
3,
3 to 4.
4.
4 to 5.
4.
17.
Shane, what's your fit? Like,
I finished in an 18 steel. That's my last wire. So I'm 14 night tie, 18 night tie, 1925 night tie, 1925 steel, 18 steel.
You go down an 18 round?
Yeah, the finishing just
it
settles.
It's tough when all the teeth are standing at attention. You're like, oh, I just know they'll settle.
Yep.
Sometimes.
So 3 to 5 wires amongst these I'm 3 to 4. I'm pretty sure I was trained by people that used 7, 8.
Yeah.
Residency. Don't ask me about residency. I was like, hey, look at these wires. I want to try it.
Every appointment, you have to put a new wire, no matter what. Just put a new wire in. Different size. Doesn't matter.
All right. So question 2.
Yeah, so community involvement. I know some of this has probably changed over the last year, but let's talk to let's start with Nicole on ways that you stay involved in the community.
Well, after we opened back up, and I'm from Michigan, so things were a little bit tighter there. But after we opened back up in June, I think the next opportunity for an event for us, because we do our own event and then we participate in a lot of other events in our local areas, was our 5K, our Lace Up for Learning. It's a charity 5K. All the money goes back to the schools. And that was a hard decision because the city, typically the police block the streets for us, and they said, we can't help you this year because of COVID. We can't really be a part of it. So at that point, we're like, okay, are we still going to do this knowing that the city isn't really behind us, and we had already had a bunch of registrations. So we said, well, let's offer a virtual and in person.
Virtual run?
Virtual run, which are they're super popular right now.
Are they?
Yeah, like you get all your swag, you can.
That's how. That's how I work out all the time. If you can't tell, I work out virtually. I'm a virtual worker outer.
I'm running the Shane train. I'm like,
Put on the VR headset.
Fat's unfit. So what we found was we had like 1 or 2 people sign up for virtual, and we had record numbers for registration. We're like, okay, we're doing this. We're going to change location, but that wasn't an easy decision. You're like, who's going to be upset? Who, what kind of feedback am I going to get? But we just confidently said, I think this is the better choice. Like, which one is the better choice? It might not be the best, or there's pros and cons both ways. So this was the best choice. So we had the event. Everyone who was there, of course, appreciated it and loved it. And we had record numbers.
That's great.
So that was one thing. But since then, don't let COVID or whatever, anything, be the excuse not to do what you love and what's going to help people, right? So we did every single trunk or treat around all the towns. We were there,
what do you do? Like, tell us what would you do at a trunk or treat?
You come with your trunk of goodies and give out stuff, and you dress in costumes, and we happen to have a mascot,
You have like a
Panda
vehicle
Wax.
that
You
just
bring your
deck out?
vehicle.
Panda Wax.
It's not a special one. It's my marketing manager's vehicle. She goes, and
Okay.
all the kids, anyone who works, we have like a.
You got some signage or whatever.
Yep, and you give out bags to everyone, and
Say no more. I love it.
yeah. We did an Easter event, super easy to do, super fun. Everyone's looking for an Easter event to do, and they can, whatever you want to do. We did literally hopscotch and gave away bubbles and, whatever. So
We talk all the time about how it takes 6 points of contact before anybody's ever ready to buy from you. And so when you're doing these things in the community and you think, oh, I didn't get a new patient out of it, what you did was you got those points of contact out of the way.
Yeah.
And I think there's a certain need for an orthodontist and doctors in a community to be leaders in the community, right? Because you are very highly educated, also very successful in your businesses. Communities need those people to give back. Do you feel that, Stuart?
For sure.
Need to do that?
For sure. And a lot of ours right now is social media. We're connecting with our patients through social media, having events, trying to get them involved, doing things like that. So
Yeah.
That's cool. All right, so let's shift on to something else. It's all over the place with these questions, but y'all are knocking them out of the park. I can't with the questions. This was like, towards the end of it, I just had to get it done. It's like numbers, goals, systems. All right, but it works better that way. So numbers, what numbers, because I'm not a numbers guy. I'm not.
Me neither.
You're a numbers guy for sure. So maybe somebody will come in. We've only talked about the 6% marketing, but what numbers for the numbers people? Who are the numbers people here? Candace, number. All right. Feldman, number. Lisa, a little bit of a numbers person. Who aren't the numbers people? Okay. We're just the free floating spirits. So we just love life. Numbers people. What number should every orthodontist look at each day?
Each day? You have to get numbers every day?
Anyone else? Anyone else? No. Kozlowski, what do you got?
Seriously, number of appointments to finish treatment. Like it's the simplest thing because we count practices and starts. But we don't count how much work we have to do to finish those starts.
Yeah.
And that's the number of appointments to finish treatment on average.
And here's something.
Go for it, Phil.
Something I learned from you. When we talk about these things, a lot of people say, "Well, how long does it take you to finish treatment?" Or what is your appointment interval? And that really doesn't matter from a clinical perspective. From an admin perspective, like you explained earlier, it does. So there are many reasons you want your treatment time to be short. But from a clinical efficiency perspective, how long it takes doesn't matter. It's how many appointments or how much time or effort put into each patient.
Good point.
More specifically,
Good point.
that matters.
Okay. What about like financial numbers? Or were you going to have?
Well, I don't look at those things as much as I should. I look at every day obsessively, multiple times throughout the day. I look at number of new calls that day and the ongoing number of starts for the month. So the tally of how many starts are on the books for the month of April. And then the next day I'll look at it and make sure it's going up, see where we are, and I do that obsessively, like at least 5 times a day.
What number are you trying to hit in starts?
About 100 a month.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I'm like 18 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Well,
you
you got
got
New York
to
fees.
I was like,
You got New York fees, so that's equivalent.
I got New York rent too.
You want to trade red?
Yeah.
Just for himself.
It's not the number of starts, it's the quality of the starts.
Is that
Yeah,
each year?
another number that actually
Is that each year
we set
locations
goals,
or
and we have a goal for number of starts per month, and I think I learned that from
I thought you
Jeff
weren't a
again.
numbers person.
No, not really, but
You have
like
goals?
No, I have a cute little pink
It's just on the
board.
map.
But I also have number of reviews. Like I want to try and ask for a certain number of reviews, and if my patients and I hit if my team and I hit that number, we go and get a foot massage or nails done and stuff like that. So it's great.
I think, between talking to everybody here and eavesdropping on most of our conversations, I think that a lot of people here are kind of at a good point in their practice.
You were included in all sorts of conversations.
One of my best experiences here is listening to the conversations that other
I saw you
have
sucking
with
on
each
a
other.
beer, just like watching me talk to people. I was like,
I do that a lot. But all jokes aside, I think that we're all in a good spot in our career, and I feel blessed. Like I don't worry as much about my income as I used to, because it's gotten to a point where I'm happy with it. And it's my life's probably not going to change much if it goes up or down a little bit. I've been paying more attention to how much I can compensate my team. So we talk about low overheads and this and that. I'm proud of the overhead I have, but like if it's going to go up, I want it to be because my team is getting paid more.
What's your overhead percentage? You want to say it?
We're pretty low right now.
Oh, come on.
We're at 37%.
That's amazing.
And
seriously?
Yeah, that's
Whoa.
yeah.
Wow.
We're not cutting corners. We're using quality products. I use
Not
3
cutting
products.
much, are you?
He's not cutting.
You gotta be careful when you talk about numbers though, because I just recently, I'm constantly looking at my overhead, thinking I'm high. Well, I had an outside company look at my numbers and they said, you're killing it on your overhead. I'm like, really? Okay, I've never heard that before. It's because you have to take out your salary. You have to know what's in your P&L that's personal expenses, and then recalculate it. So you have to be very careful when you're talking about numbers with somebody else.
That case of wine you buy for yourself,
See?
that might be for Dennis coming over, comes out of the budget.
That's for $2,000 for private equity.
So you want the overhead to look higher.
Yes.
I like that. Okay.
Can I ask a question to the group on that? Like, what systems do you guys use to like keep track of that stuff? Like, do you have an accountant? I use an app called Wave. It's free.
We use Gauge.
Oh, okay, so it's actual practice
Shout out
software.
Gauge.
What do you mean? You mean like P&L stuff or practice numbers?
P&L stuff. Yeah.
So whatever you use, I mean, I use QuickBooks.
Okay.
But just have a line. You don't want to make it so obvious to your accountant, that it's really stuff that this is how I word it. The next owner wouldn't have those expenses,
Got it.
right? So you can call it PR or whatever you want to call it. Just have a line, and then those are really not
We
true
call it
business expenses.
discretionary expenses.
Thank you.
There you
That's
go.
the word.
Because you're choosing to spend the money that doesn't necessarily
Have to be spent.
spent on the practice, and that's super important.
I get
Yeah.
a sense that you're spending a lot of this discretionary thing. But you don't have to go into that.
Like that second boat, right?
It's an office boat.
No, pigs get
That
fat,
parasailing,
Yep.
Boom.
Okay.
Yeah, the boat's on me personally. So I'm saying.
I love it. All right, goals. Let's talk about goals. Something that orthodontists don't always agree on. Do you set production or starts goals? Do you use bonus systems? Who uses start goals, bonus systems?
Yeah.
No. Huh? That's
do a
about
bonus
half.
system.
Wait, the numbers
We do a
guy said
bonus
no.
system.
Said yes. You're
Well,
not a numbers guy, but I want to hear this, Cole. You said I'm not a numbers guy, but I said
JK,
goals
That's a
are
half
numbers.
raise.
That's why my hand was like down here because I don't work good in big goals. My staff doesn't either, probably because I don't, but I am a micro goal guy. I was like, hey, next 2 weeks I'll give you guys $20 for every Google review. And so you just bust it out like
But so here's the thing, they're timely. They're
yes,
timely and
you
important
always
what you
always
want
have
to
an end
accomplish
date.
in the business.
Always have an end date.
Yeah.
Always have an end date. But I will not make a monthly goal. We have, but I just not. Honestly, I'm not a good person to be talking about this. Go
I
ahead.
know there's a lot of strong opinions for or against this. I do not like to incentivize bonuses. Like I don't, not a defined, if we get this many starts this month, we're going to give you a bonus. Because what if everybody's on their A game and I'm just having a terrible month? Or what if everybody's on their A game and it's a bad, the economy's not doing it so hot?
Then it's a normal month.
But it's almost like a disincentivizing thing. I think you just
I've
have to
heard
be
that.
careful about it.
Yeah.
And I read this book recently called Drive by Daniel Pink, I believe it is. It is incredible. It talks about motivation and how, money is not the biggest motivator for most people, especially in a job where you have the ability to be creative. So, it was just it was a pretty, I highly recommend that book.
It's just a situational motivator.
Right. I don't think it's wrong.
It's a primer. It's a primer. So you make, that's why when I talk about goals,
I like
and
it.
incentivizing, it is like, it's time. Like, hey, guys, it's 2 days. Let's see how many in-office startups we can get. Meaning, like, can we generate a new patient exam from someone who just walked in with a friend or a sibling? But it's like a 2 day goal.
What I love about that is that it shows them, because they're like, this is exciting, it's 2 days, pressure's off, but there's something in it for me. And then at the end, you come together and you're like, look what you guys just did. You know?
Because it becomes culture.
Yeah.
It becomes part of what you do regularly then.
Because what you're really trying to do is make them excited, but excitement does not last for, Christmas morning syndrome. The build up is so fun, and then by 1 o'clock on Christmas morning, we're all like, okay, we're putting the tree away. Like, so once you
You're one of those guys,
like, it's over. Excitement wanes way faster than you think. So having like a year goal, like to go on a big trip, I can see that maybe working, but really what works better is just tiny ones. Like, hey, so.
Yeah, so I have a slightly different approach, I guess. I do like monthly goals. I like it. It's tiered. It's tier 1, 2, and 3. Each team member gets 100, 200, or 300. If we hit those, those are based on percentage growth that we're shooting for. And so we're shooting. We got to hit, whatever is it, 4% growth or 5% growth. That's tier 1. Add on a few more percent. I'd be over the moon if we hit tier 3. We also approach it quarterly. So if we miss, well, there's some systems that I will adapt to as a non-numbers person. But these are simple numbers. They're not production numbers. I don't like talking about like dollars and cents. I think it's easy, like it starts. We make it simple what a start is. And it allows us to make sure that we're on track for our start goals. And if in a month you have a down month, you don't hit it, well, we can catch up in the quarter. And you believe it or not, they'll hit it in that third month of the to catch up in the quarter, and then they get 600 or whatever. So I like it. It's a part of the culture of our practice, and it gets everyone on board with it. And in the morning meeting, when they're like, "Hey, we need 6 more starts," they magically appear. So for us, that works. And so I always hate when people are so like absolutist about goal systems.
I wasn't trying to be.
Oh, you're absolutist about everything.
We have to do this.
You ever
See the tension? I know.
Why do you need a pun? Bring a bottle. No, so
Switch spots.
I think to anyone out there who's watching that's like, I hate goals or I love goals, like, you can be super successful with or without them. Okay, question 5.
Yeah, so speaking of that, one of the cool things about goals is with marketing, you can kind of like turn the faucet on and off, right? If you realize that you're not hitting the goals, then you need to look at a lot of things. One of those is marketing. I'd love to hear the best marketing ideas or what's working in your practices right now. Anybody?
Social media marketing has improved for us, and one of the things that we've done that have kind of included patients is having like a summer photo competition, or something where they're sending stuff to us to then showcase their photography or whatever, and then we pick a winner at the end. So we've done that pretty consistently every summer, and it's gotten our patients engaged, and then they want to share their own photos, so then non-patients are engaged on our page. So that's been probably one of my favorite kind of social media marketing.
That word engage is so powerful. Engagement on your side, because otherwise you're wasting time. If you can't get people actually engaged with you. Who else has got something?
My favorite has been our teacher appreciation contest, because what's neat about this is kids have to. By the way, now you could do a video of why your teacher's amazing. So think about teachers are the lifeblood of what kids are going through growing up, and they're often underappreciated. So it's multitasking really, because kids get to appreciate their teachers, and then when we're done with the contest, even the ones that didn't win, we provide feedback. We provide those essays that kids wrote about what teachers, so they can read that Johnny said this about me, I did this great. It's just a really good thing for the teachers and the schools and the community. And we don't ask anything out of it. It's really fun to read and go through.
And Rubber and Road, what happens to the winner? Does the teacher get treatment?
So we do try to pick a winner of teacher from grade school, elementary, middle school, and high school. And the teacher gets a gift card to go out to dinner, and by the way, babysitting if they happen to have young kids, whatever it is. And the student gets a Amazon gift card and earpods. So they both win something, but really more it's just fun to go to the schools and, hey, your student nominated you as the best teacher, and their essay was amazing. COVID last year made it a little bit hard to go and present those, but we still managed to do it virtually with some FaceTime stuff. But that's been fun for us.
We've taken that like just a little bit step further, that we'll ask permission to come in and do like a pizza party for the class that won.
Yes,
And
we call that escalating. That's taking a decent idea and making it even better. And that's
And one
marketing.
school, actually, the person who won was retiring, and they asked if we'd present it in front of the entire school.
Wow.
So we had
Yes.
a couple hundred kids with cupcakes, and so of course the newspaper showed up to honor
Someone
this
else
lady.
escalate that
It
now.
was
Make
real.
it
It was
even
really
better.
fun,
That's all
and
important.
it's been fun. And it's probably been maybe 10, 12 years of that, and it's really it gives a lot. And you know, anything you can do for teachers, first responders.
Yes.
If you really want to, our posts that if we take things in big gift baskets to all the first responders.
Yeah.
They post them, the city posts them, because they're like, hey, look, people like policemen.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised how many more views we get on something when we're doing some partnership
So
there.
Alex, I was gonna say, one of the things all these things have in common is like when you can create it some type of tradition, it helps. It helps your calendar. Like if you have to, sometimes we're constantly like, what is our marketing thing? But once you get established, you really need to come up with a marketing calendar that just kind of writes itself. We know every year we're going to do a carnival. She knows she's going to do the teacher. I mean, Cos knows he's going to do Teacher Appreciate. They're going to do the photo contest every year. If you have the things that come every year, you get this anticipatory like reaction toward it, like that preempts it. You know, wets the palate so people know it's coming, and then you can have the afterglow, not just the event itself. So, I guess my only advice is like, pick something. If it goes even decently well, just like plan on doing it again. You need to plan on doing it again. Make it a regular thing, even if it's just a yearly thing.
I love it. Chris, you got something?
I'm just so opinionated on all these topics, but when it comes to social media marketing, sorry, man. When it comes to social media marketing, I think there's a kind of a disconnect here. A lot of us think about what we put on our pages, and we put a lot of effort and time into it, and very few of our followers will ever see that post. If you can get your patients to post on their timelines or their social media about you, jackpot. That's when all their friends on Facebook or Instagram, they're going to see what they're putting out there. And I believe that's going to give you the most return on investment.
sure.
Because the investment is free. It's zero investment. If you can get them to post about you.
Right.
So
Would you call that free efficiency?
I would call that
So
free. Yeah.
to that end, I mean, honestly, the simplest thing is when we do a bonding, like we take photos and they're like, hey, just so you have our emergency number, we're gonna text it to you from that line. So, and then we text them the photos of the kid that they just took, and they're all make sure that the nice one, they're edited appropriately, just a tiny bit, just make sure we know that they're very, very pretty and postable pictures, right on their phone, and say, hey, do me a favor, tag if you post it, hint hint. Tag Dr. Johnson or GFO, give us a shout out. Like you literally tell them, and they almost always do it. Almost always.
And they're all pretty with you in them, bro.
Yeah.
I got my mask on. So yes, they are.
So they're even prettier.
Yeah, so we're wrapping it up here. I know we've probably got about, what, a minute, 30 seconds. Do you have anything?
Yeah, we can actually probably go, because I think this next segment will be a little shorter. Maybe you go 5 more minutes, I guess.
Yeah.
Do a question or two more. Let's go with, I kind of like this more. What's the best decision you've made in the past few years? And then maybe also, some of you do, what's the worst decision you've made in the last few years?
I'll start it. So the best decision I think I've made has been a difficult one, but is to not hold on to staff. I know people talk about it all the time, but in my office I don't have an office manager or HR in, so it falls on me and my wife. I almost did that. You're not my wife. This weekend. Right, and so it's one of those things where we'll let it drag on, and then it kind of take care of itself. Like they always tend to end up not being with us, and we're like, okay, good. I'm glad that happened and we didn't have to fire him. But now we've started to, because we had a little shakeup recently. That won't go into too much detail on. But it's one of those things now where we're kind of firm on like, look, let's give it a hard try. Let's work with them. Let's give them feedback. But if it's not working, let's just get it done and move on and get somebody else in. And I think that has really been the biggest thing for us, from having people in our office that are just like, they always forget their notes, but we just keep them around because it's easier to do that. But instead of, cutting them off, that sounds kind of drastic, but let them go and then, move it on. Yeah.
To let go of any employee, and we talk about it all the time, I'm the guy that wants to invest more time into them, more energy into that employee.
I think most of us sitting here are that person.
Yeah.
That's the problem, honestly.
I tend to be a
Failure
fixer.
is actually wanting to develop people beyond their capacity to grow.
Yeah. Cole will cut them quick.
I am. I'm super quick to hire and I'm super quick to fire, and I do tell people that. I say, yeah, you
Expectations.
You know, somebody told me.
It's your interview self. Tell that little nugget. Some people haven't heard it.
Or tell us when how you fire.
Well, do you expect to get people who they interviewed? They came in, they had their hair done, they had their.
Oh yeah, right. So basically, when they come in, they sit down like, hey, you did great during the interview. I'm gonna hire you. I mean, but it's contingent on one thing. Like, how good are you at being the interview version of yourself? Like, can you like
you maintain that?
Yes, I do self-interview.
Was that a one-time deal?
Like, the only time you'll ever get fired is if you are different than you are today. Like, so if this is the real Brittany, then we're cool. You showed up on time. You look lovely. You obviously spent time getting ready before you even came here. You didn't come and put on your mascara. You showed up with it. You did all these things. You were so nice. You laughed at my dumb jokes. You sat on a chair. Like, can you act like this all the time? And of course, like, oh, for sure, 100%. But the second something steps out of line, like, hey, and they're like, hey, Brittany. She's like, well, this is time out. Brittany, would you have done this on your interview? Well, no. Okay. You just broke the interview standard. You got one more chance. And then, you know. And of course, the conversation is quick. But don't worry. I do have some long-term employees. Most of them are. But you know, everyone has that revolving door of like the 2 or 3. Yeah. So I mean, but that's it. So
I think I know all your long-term employees. There's Brittany. Deborah likes the footlong. Okay, yeah. All right, so let's do like 1 or 2 footlong sub. It was last night's segment. You should have been watching. So let's do one more bad decision. I want someone to share. What is it? Yeah. What's one of the worst decisions you made as a practice owner?
Oh, I have one. I stayed
great.
on working as an associate for someone else longer than I should have, out of fear that
Not
I
Joe.
would.
It was not
That's great.
That even gets.
This is a safe place.
No, I stayed on longer because I thought like, oh, well, I needed the income. There's no way I can just like survive on my own income and totally bet on myself. But that was just fear talking.
Go do it.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about it, do it.
Yep.
Do it.
Yeah. Not you, but you should.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the other one next to you. Another bad decision. Anybody? Nobody wants to make yourself sound modest.
I will.
Okay, thank you, Nicole.
I promoted somebody to be our office manager. It was our first office manager, and she was not the right fit at all in that position. And looking back, I was like, I could have guessed that. She wasn't displaying any. I hadn't had it clear in my mind what leadership looked like, I guess, or what qualities that person would have to be successful. So that's probably my biggest regret, because it's very uncomfortable when you have to deal with that situation. Because I'm not quick to fire like Cole is.
I'm going to add one real quick, and it's not enjoying the journey.
Yeah.
So the journey, and you know, my triathlon coach way back in the day said, you want to finish your first Ironman so damn bad, you're not even going to enjoy suffering through figuring out how to do it. So learn to enjoy that. So that's not enjoying. I mean, it was in your face. You couldn't appreciate the journey, which you can now appreciate, which is like, I've learned that. Mm-hmm. So from the age group difference we have here, which is great, from mid-30s to mid-50s, you're going to go through stuff and you're going to experience stuff. So have friends in college you can lean on that have been there and suffered that. Mm-hmm. So the mistake is this. It's not realizing that your mistakes are normal. It's thinking your mistakes are one of a kind, I messed up, and no one else has ever done this before. And then you feel embarrassed or bad, instead of realizing, by the way, no one else said it. Who here has made mistakes on hiring? Yes. So everybody else has done that. So have friends and colleagues that you can call. I text you all the time.
Yeah.
Do you know what thing about bad decisions? There is no such thing as a bad decision.
Right.
The act of deciding is completely neutral.
Yeah.
One decision only leads to another decision. So as long as if we all could get rid of that bad decision, it completely will free you.
I'll beat you with the mic drop.
I was going to say that.
That's Winston speaking right there.
I kind of feel like this should have been the whole meeting. It's just one sitting here. So I don't know. That would have been great. So fantastic job to everyone. this concludes like the sort of nerdy like interviewing type stuff. And so we have amazing stuff left, so don't go anywhere. Let's see, we've got our top 10 moments, and so we had the team come up with a top 10 list. We don't know what it is, and so we're going to look at it together. I hope some of them are funny, but we're going to kind of summarize the meeting with those, and then we'll do a very special thing at the end. But first we have some pro tips, our last pro tips, from Chris Benson and Michelle Schiefelbein. And then we have a testimonial from everyone's favorite person, Lisa Alvitro.
Whoa!
Back in a second.
Hi, this is Chris Benson, and here is my 2021 tip for the Digital Orthodontics Live crowd. Last year, we went through a difficult year, and a lot of you were closed down 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, depending on where you lived. That means your production ended up a little bit lower than you would have liked. In order to get your cash flow and your contract receivable balances up faster, I want you to increase your paid in fulls. So treatment coordinators, if you're listening, I want you to offer it to everybody and increase it by 5% from wherever it is. Doctors, I want you to ask your treatment coordinators to present it more often. You might have to increase your discount in order to get more people to take it, but what it will do is allow your cash flow and your contract receivable balance to increase, and you'll get to yes more often, and you'll have more money in your checking account. I don't want you to do this in 2022. This is a 2021 tip only, but it'll help this year. And then you can dial it back down to its normal levels. Have fun, guys, and learn a lot.
Hi, my name is Michelle Schiefelbein with Schiefelbein Consulting. Today I wanted to provide a pearl for doctors, owners, and office managers, or anybody in a leadership position in your practice. Your team culture and development of your team members is the greatest asset you have to utilize for the success of your business. You can facilitate this through a very effective review process. You should create a review process that is interactive. The team member should fill out the same document as the doctor or the office manager, and you can use that information to identify where there might be a disconnect or a breakdown in perception. It's important that we remove perception and feelings within the review process, and we need to create an excitement and an enthusiasm for the team members to be vested in their own personal and professional growth and development for your practice.
I'm Dr. Lisa Alvitro, and many of you know what I'm going to say is my favorite 3M appliance. It has to be Forces. Every day I look at cases that I'm treatment planning, ones that are in treatment, ones that maybe I finished a long time ago since Forces has been out over 20 years. And I look at these cases and think, I don't know how I could have accomplished what I did without an appliance that doesn't rely on patient compliance. Now here's the thing that I think is most underappreciated about Forces, and it's its versatility. You can attach the rod in different locations. You can attach the spring in different ways. You can change your wire selection. You can change your activation. And all four of these factors will allow you to create the ideal force system that you need to correct the malocclusion. Now, part of the reason I really like working with 3M and have for all these years is really the knowledge of not only their sales force, but the inside team as well. If you have a question with something, is this right? How's this working? What are other people doing with this appliance or system? They can help you out. If they don't know the answer, they're going to keep looking for it and find someone who can. Maybe it's somebody on the inside. Maybe it's someone who even helped design these different appliances. Or maybe it's another clinician that can help you along the way. Now, I think my affiliation in being a 3M customer has really helped me grow my practice. One is they're always introducing new appliances or new systems. And they also encourage you to do it. And I don't think in like a sales type kind of way, but more of a partnership kind of way. I think an example for me is like with Clarity Aligners came out. It's hard when you're trying to transition maybe into a new appliance or a new system, but I felt very confident with the people that were helping me, or if I had to call inside and get an answer to a question that I had. So I think that them encouraging me along with the new innovations, and then also the consistency, because I think what helps grow your practice too through the years is to be able to produce a consistent result for people, so that one, they can help grow the practice for you. So I really don't think I'd be where I'm at practice-wise if I hadn't decided early on to become a 3M customer.